It's so exciting. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to episode 29 of the Dragon Drive show presented by Summit Racing. Guys, we are in the midst of it right here. I hope you're ready for a great show. We got a good one tonight. We've got Dragon Drive event updates. We've got world champion updates with a few what ifs. And then we've got cool finds on both Summit Racing and Racing Junk Classifieds. And Mr. Rich Guido is in the house. The Canadian Chuck Norris is here to talk about his Dragon Drive experiences. Y'all, it's going to be going. Sit down, get comfortable, hit the share button though as you do that so you can tell everybody else that you are here and that they need to come over here too. Let's have some fun. Guys, I'm here with Dave Teresi, Mr. Energy.
Oh, yeah, I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm
we're looking for a 6 something. That's
Excited you're here. It's going to be a ton of fun. Great weather.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited about this right here. All right, guys. Like I said, welcome to the Dragon Drive Show. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Dragon Drive Show and news, and a Dragon Drive statistician and addict and promoter. And guys, my co-host is next to me, Mr. Eric White. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, bud.
My name is Eric White. I am the co-host for Dragon Drive News and the Dragon Drive Show. Help out with just a little bit of everything here with Dragon Drive Addiction. And I run my own brand, which is 815 LSX Swaps.
That's right. Well, guys, before we get into the show tonight, I want to remind you we can't do this without you. We want to say thank you for your support of the Dragon Drive brand. Our race car friends are near and dear to our hearts. Your likes, comments, and shares are what helps us keep us motivated a lot of the times when we're up late at night putting down all of this stuff. We also want to thank our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. All right, dude, let's get into it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
excited.
jump into the event updates and upcoming
Yes.
events here. So our first event is Hot Rod Drag Week, which is in 10 days. Did you hear that, everybody? 10 days. Real
Dude,
quick.
I can't wait. That means I leave in 8.
Right. So we will likely have a new Dragon Drive World Champion points leader by the end of that event. So that's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. And then at the conclusion of that event, you will be at the NHRA Carolina Nationals at ZMAX for this 860 exhibition. And that's going to be right at the end, right? At the end of that event. It's like, did you say 100 miles away?
Yep. So we'll end at Darlington, and then I'll drive with several other Dragon Drive Hot Rod Drag Week street race small block power adder cars up to ZMAX, which is like 105, 110 miles away.
Which is going to be super cool because the top 2 qualifiers of that will get to run heads up for a Wally on Sunday. Like, how cool is that?
Dude, I'm telling you, NHRA is doing big things. They're helping promote the Dragon Drive scene for sure.
Yeah, so one of our race car friends from Dragon Drive is going to own a Wally.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
pretty
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. That is
So
awesome.
then our next event is going to be One Guy's Garage Drag Weekend, and that is in 15 days. So I will be attending this at Byron on that Saturday. So I'll be there getting pictures, getting some videos, and I'll actually be doing the news show with you from Byron that day.
Yep, and I'll be at ZMAX that morning trying to find somewhere. Maybe I can sneak in the media room and get on live or something.
Yep. Also 15 days away is King of the Open Road. So that is in Tucson, Arizona. Again, only 15 days away. Dude, that's only
Mhm.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot, and there's a lot of folks from I would say Midwest, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, things like that that are headed out that way to attend this event.
Yep. And next event is going to be, oh, we didn't talk about the tokens. These
Yeah.
are the tokens for King of the Open Road. So they do, so how do these tokens work exactly?
Yeah, so it's really cool. So the racers of the event, you drive one day, so you'll have you register and then you take off on your drive. Well, halfway through, roughly, you stop at their designated checkpoint, and if you make it there, you get one of these tokens, and this is how they know you made the drive when you pull back in to show them that you're ready for tech for your elimination style racing.
That's pretty cool. It's almost like a little,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a collectible token that you get for participating
Yep.
in the event. So I
Yep.
really like that
And
idea.
right, and I was thinking about it earlier today. The cool thing about this is not right now. The cool thing about this is in 5, 8, 10 years when there's guys that have stacks of these, and they're carrying them around in their car in sacks and stuff. It's like tradable money or something almost.
Right. Very
So
cool.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Next event is the Redwood Rally, and that is coming up in 19 days. And that is, again, the event out in California. So I'm
Hmm.
really excited to see the content that comes out of this event. I think photos and videos, like drone footage, like all of that is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool to actually see what a real West Coast event will do. This is gonna be a good setup here.
Yeah, because there hasn't been an event out in that part of the country, so um,
Yeah.
everybody needs to come out for that one, so that way we can get more events out there.
Yeah. Yep. Now I know they are sold out, which helps, but at the same time, they need spectators. They need people to go out and watch them.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next event is an event that you are going to be attending, which is Back to
Hmm.
the Streets in Milan, Michigan, and that is in
Oh yeah.
22 days.
Yep. Booked my flight the other day. I'm excited. Well, I've got some updates on it here in just a minute too.
Yep, so that's going to be a cool event. That's the no prep heads up elimination style drag and drive event. So we'll talk
Hmm.
about that here in a little bit. Next event is in 23 days, which is race week. So that's going to be another one that is going to
Yeah.
change the drag and drive world champion points. So looking forward to that event as well.
Yep, and we've got Rich Guido on, and so part of our conversation with him is the world champion points and what him and Bill are going to do to maybe get as many points as possible. And I'll be flying from back to the streets to Denver to catch up with these guys on Tuesday, and then jump in and just thumb rides all the rest of the week.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. That was one of the events I really wanted to attend, especially before the track got closed down.
Yeah,
Being that this is going to be the last year, I unfortunately am not going to be able to make it. So I
yeah.
am planning on 1 year, hopefully next year, attending one of the Rocky Mountain Race Week events.
Well, and I mean, let's do that, and let's take your car. Let's take the Mustang.
The 240 would be fun with the convertible through the mountains, but yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see where the Mustang's at by then.
yeah. There we go. We need something fast. Maybe you can do a weekend event close to the house in the Mustang, and then we can take the convertible on a long trip. If you'll
Yep.
have me as your co-pilot.
Oh, 100%. Our next event is in 33 days. This is October
Mhm.
10th through 14th, and this is the Street Machine Magazine Drag Challenge. So this one's going to be pretty cool. This
Yeah.
one is in Australia.
Uh, yeah. This one's Australia, and these guys have actually this will be their second event to do this year, so
Yep,
they're going to have plenty of work ahead of themselves for everyone that's racing out that way.
yep. And they got a cool flyer there. It's cool seeing the different style cars out there. Obviously, there's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of similar cars to what we have, but the unique ones are the ones I like checking out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure. I agree completely.
So there still are 10 events to finish out 2023. So lots of events to go watch, lots
Yeah.
of events for us to cover.
Yep.
So
Bring it on.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm really ready to see what the end of this year looks like and what we carry into 2024. And that's probably part of what we're going to cover next week is events that we're already seeing in 2024 and start talking about registration for those and things like that. So it's going to be cool. Well, let's talk about back to the streets a little bit, kind of change it up here. So I've been talking with Matt a little bit. I see a Facebook user here says you guys are going to be busy. That is an understatement. There is in like 19 days of calendar there's one day of not having a drag and drive event. So we're gonna Eric and I have been talking about what to do. Do we go live every day? Do we do a daily dose of drag and drive and bring that segment back and do all that? So yeah, we're gonna be very busy. Lots of stuff to cover. Lots of Excel spreadsheets and things like that. So let's talk about back to the streets because this event, again, with me booking my flights, I get all excited. I get really pumped up about what's coming from that. So Matt Lang is the promoter for this event. He just landed Lil Carter for the announcing, which is really cool. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then they are changing up Sunday. So the format is a weekend event. So you'll race Friday at Milan, Saturday at Lapeer, and then back Sunday. We're going to actually do back of the track. So because there's an event at Milan on Saturday, so they won't have to scrape the track. So we're going to go back of the track racing, which is the first time I've ever experienced any of that kind of racing. So I'm excited about that. And I think it's going to add just one more level of, race ability for the guys that have done that before. It'll be perfect for typical drag and drive racers. That's not what we're used to. So,
Yeah, and
so
this
Sunday they'll go back to that, and then they'll have a flagger. Obviously, um, Chuck Be Humble is going to be the flagger for that. So he's kind of a local legend flagger guy. So that'd be kind of cool to experience all of that. And of course, I have to go through and look and see if any of my race car friends are going to be there. And Eric Englert, Family Man Racing, is going to be there in his 4G63 swapped Toyota MR2. Probably one of the coolest cars. He's racing hard tire, which is really a neat class. I love hard tire stuff. And then this car, I'm really excited to see it up close. So you guys will know him as the 1200 plus horsepower all-wheel drive 3000 GT.
Yep.
They got Jack Bernard for this car build here. So it's exciting. I'm ready to see him. I haven't seen him in a few years. And then Adam Hodson, same thing. He's bringing out the Gap Train, which you can't really see it because of the artwork there, but there's two turbos that are over the top of the cab on that truck. And they built that on Mac TV, Mid America Customs TV. But they built this truck on Horsepower TV. Is that right?
I
No,
forget what that
not
is called.
Horsepower
It's like
TV.
10
The
10K.
10,000, yeah, the 10K drag challenge or whatever.
Yep.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see him and whoever he has as his co-pilot, and that Gap Train is legit. Really,
Yes.
really gets down. And then I've never seen this car in person, but this Mo Zakaria is the video that went viral. Dude doing a burnout and leaves as he's mid burnout, pulls a wheelie throughout. So this car ought to do really, really well at a no prep event. Now, has he taken it on a drag and drive? No. So is this car a town car? As my brother Steven calls it, do you drive a town car? And it's just a car that you drive around town. So it ought to be pretty cool to see some of these no prep street race guys get into a little bit of this drag and drive and experience just what we know is the best community on the planet. So
Yeah, it's going to be
so
pretty
we're excited about
exciting.
that.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
unique features to this drag and drive event. So I hope this
Yeah.
one has a good turnout. Everybody, there's spots open. So if you haven't signed up and you want to do it and you are somewhere here in the Midwest, definitely go sign up for this one.
Yeah. Yep. Back to the streets, dnd.com for registration or find it on Facebook. There's an event page and all that kind of cool stuff. So, all right, dude, I'm going to hand it over to you and you talk about your upcoming experience at One Guy's Garage Drag Weekend.
Yep. So I had mentioned that I am going to be attending One Guy's Garage Drag Weekend here in 15 days. So I will be at Byron on Saturday, which is the second track. So I
Mhm.
reached out and talked to the promoters a little bit to get a little more information about this event. I know it's been going on for a while, but I didn't really have all the information that I was looking for. So this is the 8th annual. The last 3 years have all been at the same tracks, which are Cordova, Byron, and Tri State. They only have a maximum of 50 to 60 entrants. So they
Yep.
really like to keep this small event. They like everybody to have fun, really get to know each other. And it's only $100 entry fee, which I thought was really cool. You and I were
Yep.
talking before the show. We don't know if that includes entry to the track or anything yet, but I did think that this is a very good, very affordable weekend
Yeah.
event to get into. And I thought this was really cool. 28 of the registrants from this year have participated at least one prior drag weekend.
That's super cool.
So you
That is
figure
super cool.
if they have 60, almost half
Yeah.
have attended before, and if there's only 50, then over half.
Yeah.
And she
And
did say that there's a number of them that have been coming since 2015. I didn't get an exact number,
wow.
but um, there, as I was going through it, and we'll see in some of the pictures, there's one member or one driver that has been. I think that he said this was his fifth one out of eight.
Wow.
So definitely
How
really
cool.
cool. The classes are stick shift, so your H pattern, leg activated clutch. You've got the street eliminator bracket class, which is for 10-0 and slower. You have factory street, true street, and outlaw street. And outlaw street is anything goes, eighth mile only. The other four classes are all quarter mile.
Oh, cool.
So information here I got from Nathan and Stacy Shaw. They are the promoters and the owners of One Guy's Garage. All the classes information is on their event page. So if you want to check it out, maybe it's something you might be interested in looking at for next
Hmm.
year because they are filled up for this year. You can go check out all those rules for the classes over there.
That's awesome.
So there were a few newbies that this is their first drag and drive, so I thought that was cool. Bridget
Hmm.
Morris with her 2006 Pontiac GTO. It's a 404 cubic inch with nitrous. So this is going to be
Nice.
her first drag and drive event. So I thought that was really cool. We also have Isaac Hurst. This will be his first drag and drive event as well in this 2007 Cadillac CTS-V. That looks a little comfy though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Got the
that'll be a nice
creature,
car to cruise around in.
yeah, creature comforts there. But I'm excited to see a couple of these guys and gals who this is their first event. So while
Hmm.
I'm there, I'm definitely gonna try to talk to those people because they'll be on day two. So kind of get a little bit of how day one
Yeah.
went, how the drive was in
Right.
day two, and kind of see how they're feeling throughout the event. Also, Carl Thomas with this 1988 Mustang. In the post that they had, he said this was a stock 5.0 Mustang. Um,
It
yeah.
looks stock. I mean,
So
completely. Is that two exhaust holes?
it does look like two, doesn't it?
He's like, you know what? Bullhorns are cooler than fender exit.
So I don't have any details on this car, but I'm definitely excited. Obviously, I'm a big LS Fox body guy, so
Yeah,
I'll
man.
be
Well,
excited to
it
check
looks like
this
a
out.
rotary under the hood there.
Then we've got Charles Sliker III is racing in the stick shift class in the '01 Camaro. This is a LS1 T56 with a Pro Charger.
Nice.
So that should be pretty sweet to check out.
Yeah, that car should be violent.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
this one is also cool. This is Dawn Wells. She is going with her husband as her co-pilot, 1972 Datsun, also with an
Yes.
LS1 and T56. So they'll be racing in that stick shift class as well. And in the post, she had mentioned that when they get to drag weekend, it might be the first time that she's made a pass in this car. So
Oh, geez.
talk about the rush to get it finished.
Yeah, nothing like waiting until the last second.
And then we have a couple returning racers. So this is the one that I mentioned, John Thuringer, and a 2015 Z06 Corvette. This is his 5th drag weekend. So I thought
That's
that was
awesome.
really cool. And then this one I really liked a lot. So this is for, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but Lehman Brothers. So
Sure.
there's Blake, Bryce, Bew, and Brady. All 4 are going, and they have a 2017 Camaro ZL1, a 2010 Camaro SS, a 71 Ford Torino, and an 82 Buick Regal. So I thought that was really cool that
Yeah.
all 4 brothers are going to attend this race, and it looked like they've attended this multiple years. I wasn't sure exactly how many, but I thought that was really cool, and I'm excited to talk to these guys while I'm there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime like, bro, the competition gets pretty heated between 4 brothers that are there. I want to know the setup on the Trino. So yeah, I'm excited about you being there.
Yeah, and I don't know what classes they're racing in, but I would
Yeah.
imagine that a couple of them are at least going to be in the same class, so that'll be fun
Oh
to
yeah.
follow.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's what I have for the One Guy's Garage weekend, drag weekend. And again, once I come back from that event, I'll have tons of pictures. We'll have videos, shorts,
Mhm.
and I'm going to put together probably a little article talking about my time at the event. And I'm looking forward to talking to the promoters and getting to know them a little bit. So I'm excited for this one.
Well, and I think there's going to be a lot of new people that we've never even seen or talked to before at other events that'll be at this one, and that's going to be good to always drag and drive addiction in front of folks.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Well, guys, I'm excited. Anytime we can have sponsors help us out, that is always a big plus. And having sponsors that also race drag and drive is one of the biggest benefits to doing what we do because they understand what goes on here. And Eric Grillo, who raced at Rocky Mountain Race Week in the Black Nova, is also racing at Drag Week in the Nova. So that's kind of exciting. Of course, he runs Molly Pistons in that car. And then Brian Havlick is going to also be there with his 55 Chevrolet, which has a brand new setup of Molly Pistons in it because I'm sure, like most of the time, Brian is thrashing to get it ready. So we just want to say thanks to Molly by playing the commercial.
Molly Motorsports is the official piston of DragOnDrive.com. Molly's Power Pack piston is the perfect candidate for your drag and drive car. Molly Motorsports competes in drag and drive events and supports our community. Project manager Eric Grillo raced a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. He's also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week last year with his C10 truck. Visit mollymotorsports.com for the most recent line of products.
All right. And then, of course, the Found on Summit Racing is, guys, I tell you, every week I'm always on here looking for stuff. But Eric actually sent me this, and not that I need it for the old crusty LS head stack I've got out there, but for $3, I think I'm going to throw it in on my next order. This is a pretty good deal. I feel like, it's a head and cylinder head and the crank bags, so it keeps it nice and tight inside, and then you can spray some WD-40 or whatever in there to keep it from rusting and things
Yep.
like that. Or if it's in my shop, there's no telling what you're going to end up on it because there's metal flying around and wood flying around and everything everywhere. So
So
thought this was pretty cool.
I was actually telling you before the show that I couldn't sleep at all last night. So I was tossing and turning in bed. So I get on my phone and I'm like, man, let's take a look at Summit. Let's see what they got. I was looking around and I actually saw this and I sent it to you last night, but I have multiple LS heads sitting out in the garage right now. I've got
Mhm.
a bucket downstairs with a crank and cams, and I'm gonna end up ordering probably $20 worth of these bags because I definitely think they're going to be useful. And I had actually never seen these before. So I have a
Yeah.
giant bag that goes over my spare engine.
Now, is
That
that
I've
a 55-gallon trash bag? Is that what?
no, nope. This is an actual bag that was meant to go
Nice.
over the engine and over the engine stand. And then I just
Dude,
took
you're
the
so
bottom of
fancy.
it and kind of, taped it up to make sure nothing got in. But when I saw these, I actually got pretty excited because I'm like, $3. You can't really beat that. And I have plenty of parts that really need to be covered up.
Dude, everybody that's watching this right now has parts that need to be covered up that we're going to use at some point in the future.
Yep,
So that's a great find.
Danny Fatka
Yeah,
says I
Danny,
could
I
use
know
a
he
few.
he does for sure. Yep. And then I was searching around today. We were looking at fuel injection stuff. This was pretty interesting to me. It is a standalone LS swap ECU and harness and everything. I thought it was pretty cool for like $800. I thought that was pretty cheap. Comes with a handheld and all that kind of stuff. I don't know anything about this. It looks like the one review on this piece here was some dude that had asked a whole bunch of questions about injectors and then gave him a 1-star review or a 2-star review because it didn't plug into his truck injectors like he thought it was, even though in the questions he asked that and they say no, it's EV6 injectors. So
That's
whatever, I
definitely
don't know.
that's definitely interesting and definitely worth
Yeah,
doing a little bit of research in because you know
yeah.
fuel injection, we all know Holly and all that, they're expensive and sometimes on back order. So having an alternative like this might be interesting.
Well, and I thought for $800, so a lot of the stuff we do in Narcoleptic Customs is just stock LS swaps. People want to go from and like we've done several Grand Wagoneer swaps and things like that. This would be a good alternative for them because you're going to spend 600 on getting a harness cut down and a base tune file in it, and at least this has some opportunity to not just be a stock ECU setup. So I thought it was pretty good. I mean, obviously want to do a little more research. If somebody's on a really tight budget, this could be a good option for them too. So I just don't know how the tuning software and things like that go. So, and then the last thing is what you're seeing us wear. Boom, boom, boom. The Drag and Drive hats are in stock, guys. $15, man. I can't believe it. This is so exciting. So, Summit has gone all in on Drag and Drive Addiction, and we certainly appreciate that. This is part of a whole line of products that are available now. You got shirts, you've got hoodies, you've got hats now, and there's more stuff coming. There's 2 different styles of shirts. There's a hoodie, and of course this hat here. So it's pretty awesome to see these. We've had these in our hands for what, a week and a half now, and
Yep.
then our contacts at Summit, who will remain nameless for right now in this conversation, had been wearing it for a few months. We'd seen them at a couple events with them. So I'm excited to for this to be available to you guys that are out in the world. And I'll be wearing mine the week of Drag Week and anytime after that. And so we'll see how it holds up to sweat and discoloring and stuff. If it's anything like all my other hats, it'll have just that band that's all the way around.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so
so I'm
far
pretty excited.
I really like this hat. I like the
Yeah,
drag and drive addiction is real big. Our other drag
yeah,
and drive hats, it's a little bit smaller in the corner.
yeah,
Still nice hats, but I really like these ones.
yeah. And for $15, that's a good deal. That's an extra hat. So
Yep.
So cool. Well, that's what I found on Summer Racing, guys. Again, if you are ever on there, make sure you jump in and just type in drag dash in dash drive on there and see if you find anything that you need.
So we
I
got
know there's stuff on there.
Facebook user here is saying thanks for the drag weekend talk. The Torino is small block Ford NA for now until he puts 76 millimeters on it. So
Nice.
there is the rundown on that. And no problem for the talk. I'm excited to be at this event. I'm looking forward to providing coverage for an event like this that doesn't get a ton of coverage. So I
Hmm.
plan on being there, running around, taking tons of pictures and videos. You're going to see me all over the place. So
Yeah, I'm pumped about all of the just coverage that we're going to provide to folks in the next few weeks. All right,
yep, it's going to be good.
let's talk Drag and Drive World Champion. This is exciting. I've been really thinking a lot about this, and there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We're going to go over that here in just a second. But first off, the first bit of news on this is Matt Frost is the man. If you don't know Matt Frost, he runs Rocky Mountain Race Week with his longtime girlfriend, June. amazing team. There's a whole team now of people that make that event happen. Adam Dory as the announcer. I'm sure there's a lot of people behind the scenes. I know there's a lot of folks that work the tent and stuff like that. And I don't know their names yet, but I'm going to after this event. Guys, the Dragon Drive World Champion is picking up steam. So last week we announced at Southeast Street Meet that the world champion would be able to race for free and be guaranteed a spot. This week, Matt Frost has done the same thing, and we cannot thank them enough, but he's done it on both events. So if the Dragon Drive World Champion chooses to race Rocky Mountain Race Week or Race Week, they'll, one, have a spot guaranteed, and they're going to get in for free. That's so freaking amazing. I can't say thank you enough. Race Week started all of this for me. This 2020 was my first race week to attend, and it's been uphill from there.
Yep. Yeah, that's super cool. It's really exciting that these promoters are providing these opportunities for racers, because
Yes.
this Dragon Drive World Champion is going to be a big deal. And to be able to go out the next year and defend your first ever Dragon Drive World Champion is going to be awesome. So, yeah, thanks to Matt and team for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the biggest things on my side of stuff that you and I have had long conversations about this is we want the winner to win a award package that helps them race next year at a higher level, right?
Yep.
We want them to be either more consistent, so they, we want it to be better. And so this is a big step towards that. That is $1,300 or $1,400 worth of event entry that now they don't have to worry about. They could race these 3 events and that be their 3 events for the world champion for 2024.
Yep.
And do that for free. So, that means they have more money to spend on their car. They have more money to spend on safety equipment. They have more money to spend on hotel rooms and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much to Matt for helping us with that. I really, really do appreciate his support of the Dragon Drive World Champion. All right. And guys, we've been talking about Drag Week a bunch. That's not going to stop. Currently, Walter Doyle leads the points right now with 93. Okay. I've been saying it for weeks. Drag Week will change this leader points. Then you have 2 days later, Redwood Rally starts, which is a national level event. That will change. That could change the total points. Then you have Race Week right behind that, and that could change it. So within a 3-week period, we could have 3 different world champion points leaders.
You're going to be busy updating Excel lists.
Well, I was going to say, somebody said earlier I'm going to be busy. That is an understatement, because as we get down to the end of the season now, this is when everything has to be right. So that means, Aaron Schaefer, that I've got to go in and check, double check, triple check, send it to you, have you check it, make sure that it is right. So before we post all that stuff. So things may take a little bit longer for us to post, but guys, this is going to be a fun time, because once we get done with Drag Week, if Death Week doesn't get to 150 registered entries, then Southeast Street Meet is the last event of the season in November in the Carolinas. So it could be pretty interesting going into all of that and have that on. Just only have one event left to where you could actually pull out as possible. I see Danny Fatka here ask how many total points are possible. I think somebody could get into the 110s. 110. I don't think that many points will be scored this year based on what I've seen and what I know of folks that are attending events so far. But there are a lot of people that are 67 points and higher that have a really good opportunity to end up in that low to mid 100s range, 100, 105. And so we're going to go over a few of those. So Mark Manor currently has 67 points. He's podiumed at all 3 or every year that he's raced Super Street, Big Block, Power Adder. He's podiumed. Okay. If he places second at Drag Week with an 8-second average, he'll finish Drag Week with 100 points. If he simply finishes the week, he'll tie Walter with 93 points. So
that's interesting.
So it's pretty crazy there. Then you've got Brian Acton, and so these are the what ifs, right? These are what I spend all the time figuring out. So Brian Acton, Jay Blanchard, Fast Act Racing currently have 66 points. If they can finish the week on the podium in street race small block power adder, they'll jump to 97 points with a third place finish, 66 points, 99 points for second place, and 101 if they take first place in street race small block power adder. We're obviously going to be following all of these racers closely throughout all the weeks. And again, or actually, I have Rich Guido. This is a part of the conversation we're going to talk about later, but him and Bill Armstrong are tied at 69 points. They are both racing race week. So if he finishes with an 8-second average in at least second place, he'll have 102 points. So this is really going to come down to 1 or 2 points per. Like the winner is going to be determined by 1 or 2 points simply. I mean, it's what it's going to end up being. So it is going to be a ton of work. And so be patient with me, but y'all, I'm really excited about this. I can't thank Summit Racing enough for coming on board to help present the racers with such a great reward for their hard work. I mean, like, this is a big deal. This is the first ever drag and drive world champion that we're going to crown at PRI 2023 during the Drag and Drive Awards on Thursday.
Which I'm super excited for that. PRI, dude, I say it all the time, is one of my favorite events. And I've only been going for 2 years.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's about that these racers can not only be recognized by us, because obviously we love them, the entire community loves Drag and Drive, but think of the opportunity for a world champion that is then walking around the PRI show for the next 2 days, because that's another reason I did it Thursday morning at 11, is because then you would have 2.5 days of walking around with your, my intention is to have at least like a hoodie or something done with the Drag and Drive World Champion on it and all that kind of stuff. Because we'll know at the end of Southeast Street Meet who is going to be the Drag and Drive World Champion. So I see Danny Fatka here asking, what if there's a tie? Thumb wrestling to determine the winner? Possibly. We've talked about a few different things, but what we'll do, it'll be the fastest car will be the winner. Will be the overall winner of the Drag and Drive, first ever Drag and Drive World Champion.
Well, I definitely like these what ifs that you come up with, because it definitely gives an opportunity for those like these guys here, Mark and Brian and them that are in the 60s. It shows them how they can get up to the hundreds and actually have a chance to compete for that champion.
Well, and one thing that people have to keep in mind is that Walter Doyle already has 93 points because he has attended 3 national level events. Adam Green is currently in second place with 83 points because he has attended 3 events. And I don't remember the third guy's name, third place name, but he has 78 points because he has finished 3 national level drag and drive events. So,
and they can still gain more points, but it's going to be by smaller amounts because they have to gain more points than they did on one of the previous events.
Well, that's right. So Walter Doyle is a great example of how this works. Let's say that one of his events is simply a finish, right? Say he just finished an event out of the top 3, so he didn't get those additional points. Well, now he can go to race week and say he places second. Well, now he gets an additional 5 points. So now instead of being at 93 points, now he's at 98 points. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of manipulation that guys can be looking at. And the hardest part, I think, for folks this year is, again, it's the first year for it. No, everybody is seeing it, everybody's understanding it, but it's not that next level stuff, which by the time we get done with Drag Week and Redwood Rally, it's going to be full on push, because you're only going to have, potentially you're only going to have, Corey Thompson. He's a high level. He's a top 10 currently right now, 70 something points. You may, if you don't have Death Week, now you've got Southeast Street Meet. So you go from race week at the beginning of October to Southeast Street Meet in November. Well, if you finish race week and you're not where you want to be, now you got to figure out how to tell your boss I need another week off, and I've got to go all the way to the Carolinas to figure it out. So I'm really excited about this. This is going to be fun. This next 6 weeks is going to be nuts. Oh, and dude, we didn't even talk about Drag Challenge will be included in that.
Right.
So there are folks that have competed across the pond and competed here that could be in the running for that. I didn't put up any numbers for them, so I apologize. But again, I'm always looking at the top 12 or 15 people, doing the math, seeing where they could go. And Rich and Bill talked about doing race week on their last podcast, which we'll go over with Rich here in just a little bit. So, all right, sorry, we'll get on. We'll get on with the show because we're getting close to Rich Guido coming on.
So do we need to have a letter typed up that we can send to racers that need to give those to their boss to get out of work to come to these events?
Yeah. It's like, hey, dear whoever it may concern,
Right.
your employee is in the running for the first ever world champion. If you don't let them leave for this event, it's on you.
Yep.
They're going to
Yep.
be mad.
All
That's
right.
funny.
We'll jump on to the Found on Racing Junk quick because I do see Rich is in the background. So
Awesome.
let me pull these up here real quick. I just have 2 of them this week. Let's see, where did my page go? It's not there. All right, let's present. All right, there we go. So the first one obviously caught my eye for 2 reasons. It's a good looking car, but it also states it is a drag and drive car, but it's only a roller. And I did feel like it was a little bit pricey. It is 75 grand. It's a great looking car. It's a 64 Le Mans GTO clone. So as I scroll through the pictures, it is a beautiful looking car.
Mhm. The car sits right. Is that, go back to the rear bumper shot there? Is that painted?
It does look
Ooh.
like it's painted.
Wow. That's cool.
So you can see the engine that they had in it. I'm assuming, I haven't read through here yet, but that is not in the car. But it looks like a very nice built car.
Mm-hmm.
But 75 grand is quite a bit. Says it's a 64, was built to do drag and drive events. So obviously we really like that. The attention to detail is bar none, which you can tell by looking at that bumper that's painted, has
Mhm.
good detail there. Throughout the car, you'll find subtle details that pay homage to the Pontiac brand. In the pictures, you'll notice it does have a Butler TH400 combo that can be bought for the right price, which is not 75 grand with the motor. As a roller, you can drop in your drivetrain. Car meets many rolls for different classes, 315 radial or a 30-inch
Nice.
slick. So very, very cool car. The second
Yeah.
one
That's a great find.
The second one is also a drag and drive car. This is a 9-second drag and drive Lexus SC400 Turbo LS and TH400 for only 23 grand. And you and I were talking about this one before the show. This one's in Marengo, Illinois, which is really, really close to me. And I like Turbo LS, so
Yeah.
I think this
Ooh,
one we had talked. I think this would be really cool for me to contact the seller and see if I could go actually take a look at the car and maybe do like a quick video that we could play like on our Saturday show.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Definitely, that'd be a great built for drag and drive opportunity.
Yeah.
I
So it
think I
looks like
remember
this.
this car from last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I probably have videos of this because it did look very familiar, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure I saw it last year at Byron for Hot Rod Drag Week.
That's awesome.
So again, another built for drag and drive. I didn't catch this. This is right-hand drive.
Did what?
Or is that picture just
Interesting.
reversed?
No, I think
No,
that's
it
probably
is.
right.
Yeah, because
Why?
it
They
looks like
just
it's been
took the
converted.
airbag out. Just take that airbag out and put
Because
that steering column right there.
you can see the
Yeah.
now I'm off a little bit, but you can see the pedals down here.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I didn't catch that the first time. So again, another cool find here for the Found on Racing Junk. Again, 93 SC400 Turbo LS, aluminum 5.3 forged rods and pistons, Terminator X. So this car competed at Six Summer this year with a 997 average. Best pass
Come
of
on.
9903 at 140.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I just want to remind you, Racing Junk is the official buy sell trade platform for Drag and Drive Addiction. We don't run a buy sell trade page, and Racing Junk has more cars, parts, RVs, trailers than we would want to put on a Facebook for sale page. And I'm telling you, I don't know how many thousands of listings are on there, but you need to go on there, racingjunk.com, and look at the classifieds. And then lastly, last thing before we bring Mr. Rich Guido on is obviously our friends at Sweet Patina. Guys, I love that they sponsored the Built for Drag and Drive segment because they believe that cars should be driven. Their 57 Chevrolet's been to all 48 states in the continental U.S., 50, 60, 70,000 miles on that car. Right now, it's got a 6-liter LS with a 4L80 in it. That car just absolutely gets down. It's a wagon. It's super cool. We'll put that as the backdrop for next week's deal. They have offered a discount code of 10% to all of our followers, all you guys out there. So D&D 57 gets you 10% at checkout on sweetpatina.com. And guys, you can see all the cool stuff they have here: decals, shirts, banners, all that kind of cool stuff. So pretty neat deal. Love the team over at Sweet Patina. All right, let's bring Mr. Rich Guido on here. I have a few things before we're going to bring him on, though. I want to make him blush a little bit because people may not know he's also known as the Canadian Chuck Norris. He's a 2-time back-to-back stick shift class champion at Sick Week, has 2 orange helmets him and his dad wore on his way home. He drives this car everywhere, does not own a truck and trailer. He finished second behind Bill Armstrong in Miles of Mayhem 2023, just a few weeks ago. He has finished second at Race Week 2022. He's finished third behind Chad Fegley and Cletus McFarland at Race Week 2021. 6-time Hot Rod Drag Week competitor, 6-time Rocky Mountain Race Week competitor, and 2-time Miles of Mayhem competitor. Guys, this dude is the man. And when I was at Sick Week this year, I had the opportunity to catch his fastest pass to date. So let's play that video real quick and then we'll bring him on. At this time, I only thought it was his fastest pass. He got it.
What do you think Uncle Rich is going to run? 8999, no matter. I mean, he's leading right now, right? Damn. Yeah. But he's got time to fix it, but I don't know if he has the parts.
He can make it tomorrow.
Yep. Let's go.
Yes.
That's exciting.
I'm telling you, I love that car. Love this dude. He's a great guy, guys. He's also a podcaster. So this is gonna be kind of fun. We're gonna have a lot of I have several conversation pieces down here, but I'll tell you right now, who knows where this is gonna go. So let's bring him on, Mr. Rich Guido, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you this evening, sir?
Great, fellas. How about you?
Man, I'm excited about this. You've been on the show a couple times. I think this may make your second or third time, and we've always had a good time. But since our last visit, you guys have gone wild, man. You have been attending a ton of events, and you have completely kicked off, can I say, a podcast career?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but we're having a lot of fun anyways. I mean, I'm sure you guys both saw the clip of Clay Milliken stopping, and they're pushing they're staging his car for him to go make a run dragster, and he stops and talks to us for 3 minutes and asks to be on the podcast. It was like, I think Bill and I were just stunned. Like first,
Oh man, I was stunned and I was at home.
we have a podcast. You know the name of it. You know my name. You follow us. Just goes to show you how far Drag and Drive has come. Like it's amazing how many people follow us. And before I forget, how about that Blaine character? Hey, man, he was.
I love that kid.
Talk about a passenger. You can't get better than that.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun in like what I would consider 8 or 10 years when he's like an adult, and we've known him since he was 13, and like you guys are buddies. You spend a whole week together, week and a half together. Him riding in the car and all that stuff for sick week. So
riding, driving.
Was cool.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's the second, maybe the third person who's ever driven that car, and he drove it through rush hour traffic in Montgomery, Alabama. So,
wow,
that kid's a star, man.
Yeah, he's going to go places for sure. That's he definitely has the world ahead of him. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what comes of that. And the cool part about that is like, that's pushed Tom to be out at more events, and it's pushed Tom to build more cars and do more stuff. So that's cool. And Alita and Mac and all them as well.
Oh yeah, awesome family for sure.
Yep. Well, let's talk about podcasts for a few minutes because one, I know the answer to this question, but are you having fun with it?
Oh, it's very cool, and it's a commitment too, right? Like we've been busy, so we were off for a while, and I'm getting messages like, "When's the next? Did I miss one?" Danny Bemis, I was at the Salt Flats. Danny's 68, car nut. He'll still tell you he's like 25 years old mentally, but it was hilarious because I hadn't seen him for a couple of years at the Salt. I'd met him before and BS with him a bit, but he had listened to all the podcasts, and he says to me, first thing he says to me, he's like, "Man," he says, "I looked all over." He's like, "I went to different stores. I looked at different colors." He said, "But I could not find a purse I liked." So he says, "I had to rip that automatic out of my car and put a stick in it." That was the first story he told me. And I was like, "That's awesome."
Well, and the cool thing is, like, I really feel like you guys are leading the charge. You and Bill both leading the charge on a lot of the stick shift growth that we've seen the last 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, it is amazing how, I think we're probably going to get to a point where we're going to have to split up the stick class. Like, I think there was 22 or 27 at Miles of Mayhem. Like they're usually the biggest class. So, I think, I don't know how we're going to split it up, but at some point I think we'll have to split it up. But stick guys are great, man. They just want to show up and race and have a good time. And but it would be fun to see some of those, 10-second stick cars and, NA ones taking home some helmets and trophies too. So
have a chance at winning some of that stuff.
But yeah, Bill and I are having a great time. We've had so many good guests on, and more to come. It's just a good time. We sit down for a couple hours, and it's great.
So how many episodes have you guys recorded?
I think we're at like 17 or something.
Yeah, nice.
I think the one that I was listening to today, I think it was episode 21.
Was it? Oh man.
Yeah. Dude, hey, listen, I love that one, you guys. It was just you guys. It was you and Bill, and then who's your other guy? Travis, is that right?
Travis, yeah. Travis is the one that makes us look good. He's the one who throws the videos in. We haven't started doing them live like this or anything yet, but it does give us the opportunity to throw some videos in and throw some pictures in. And I don't think he does much editing of us talking, but he does a great job of throwing in the pictures and stuff. And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the last one yet, but Clay was fantastic. Like, it's so cool that Clay's been racing Top Fuel for 25 years, and when he talks about it, he is still excited about making a pass. Like,
I was listening to him on the West Buck show, I think, and he was talking about how long it had taken him to win. Like, he won one early, and then it took him forever to win another one, and like since then he's been on fire.
He's such a super nice guy, and loves the car community, does a whole bunch for the car community. And then, he's building a drag and drive vehicle and really wants to do it. He's
Yep.
got a pretty busy schedule, but I'm sure once he does one, he'll be like, we got to figure out how to do more of these. So
Yeah. Suddenly 22 weeks of NHRA will probably be 20 weeks of NHRA. He'll find time to do some dragon drives. Yeah, he was supposed to be at Sick Week with us 2023, and then I think NHRA event came up last, like they set the schedule after he had already signed up. So I'm excited to see him out there. He's one of the coolest dudes that are out there.
he sure is. Yep.
So I'm sure this will be a tough question, but what are some of your favorite guests you've had on?
I'd say like Ben Strader from EFI University. I mean, I don't know. I've listened to that a few times now. Just a smart dude and very technical. He was great. Nick Coleman, he's one where you see videos of him, short clips on 1320 video. And I don't think this would hurt Nick's feelings, but he almost looks a little bit redneck-ish, but they're all short clips. But man, when we got him on the podcast and started digging into his combo and the logic that he uses, he is a smart dude. Like that was cool. A hoot. Yeah. Garrett was great. He does a lot of that kind of stuff too, but I don't know. We haven't really. I mean, the one with oh, it'll come to me here.
Yeah, with doing 21, you've it's hard to go back into those into all that mental.
Yeah,
who did we talk to?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some more drag week guys and stuff on too. They're always good. Yep. They're always good for a laugh. There's lots of good stories and tons of good memories and.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one thing that I love about this stuff is this will be, this will be available forever. We'll be able to see these stories in 10, 15, 20 years, if we're still watching YouTube then, to see all of this and go through and live those memories. And we're going to talk about some of those, I would say, roadside / hotel parking lot repair stories in a few minutes, because you've got several and we definitely want to give you some opportunity to talk about those. But first, we got to talk about the Dragon Drive World Champion and how you and Bill Armstrong are tied at 69 points each. So,
yeah,
of course,
that's pretty awesome,
right? You guys are probably some of the most competitive friends. It's friendly competition. I would say you guys aren't out to. You want both of you to race your best race, right? So I was doing some math trying to figure out how all this works, and I think we may need to do like a Bill versus Rich trophy. But with you guys at 69 points, if you finish race week, which you guys are both headed to race week, from what I understand on the episode the other night, and then if you both finish with 8-second averages, which I don't know if you've done that in the mountains before, and then if someone can podium, you guys are going to be over 100 points. So that's pretty awesome, considering like that we really thought early on that it was going to take a 6 or 7 second car to win this. But, we're being shown that 8 and 9 second cars have very good capability of winning this world champion, because you guys are winning classes. Like that's where the main points come from, and that's what you guys are doing. It's pretty awesome. So second place gets you 102 points is what I'm saying. So we need one of y'all to be maybe 1 and 2 and end up in that top running.
Yeah, and so I'm doing race week and death week. I don't know how death week fits in, but I've done one 8th mile event, but yeah, it's like I posted and you described before, there is some hitters coming, like there's 4 or 5 of us. Well, it depends. I don't know if Tom Stark's going to show up or what he's going to show up with, but the 4 that I described there, we all have 850 chassis. We've all been in the 8s. I'm pretty sure I'm the light. No, that's not right. I think I'm the heaviest, but
I was like, you're not the lightest in that group for sure.
And the slowest. I keep telling Bill I got the hole saw out and I've been cutting holes in that thing trying to. But Chris Hine, I mean, he's been. I think he's been like 543 in the 8th. Like he.
Wow.
he's a contender, but he only has an 850 cage. So the
Yeah.
reality is we all have a chance
Yeah.
for
Well,
at least
just
second behind
like
Chad.
I was gonna say, just like sick week, you end up like, I mean, technically it'd have been, you should have maybe podiumed at sick week, but the three fast guys, one of them didn't make it past day 0 and the other two broke. Like that's drag and drive, baby.
Yeah. And the tracks can be tricky, and Rocky Mountain Race Week is not for the faint of heart with the altitude, and so lots can happen.
Yep.
But I don't think you can ever not go because there's faster guys going like that. You just can't do that because you just don't know who's going to finish.
Well, that's right. And you and Bill were talking about race week, and there's one day where you're going to race in Kearney. I think it's race in the morning, and then you'll go back to the evening in Denver the next day. It's 400 miles between those. So like that'll be a hard day, and typically there's a drive day in that, but you would run evening race, drive day, evening race, where now it'll be morning race, and then the next day is an evening race. So it should be, it's going to be tight for a lot of racers, but I'll be waiting at Bandamere for you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. It'll be good to see you. Well, and
Yeah.
It's clear that my car doesn't like to compete so close to home. It likes to drive for about 1,000 miles or so before it's happy. And then, but yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the video of Bill surprising me at my front door, but I was pretty clueless that he was coming, even though there was a whole bunch of signs around my house because my wife was in on it too. And Dan Nissen was supposed to be stopping at my house. So when the doorbell rang and I opened the door and I look at Bill and Jamie, I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are you guys doing here? And where's your car?
Yeah. You're right, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a great story. You said you opened the fridge and there's like beers in there, and your wife tell the wife, "Hey, I'm or hey, make sure we got some food." Well, you tell it. I'll.
At first, Dan was coming through, and I'm like, "Well, you should stop and have supper here and stuff." And I said to my wife Sylvia, I'm like, "Can you put is there enough food for one more?" And she's like, "I think so." And I see her putting this like huge plate of chicken in the oven. I'm like, that's a lot of food for one extra guy. And then I go downstairs and there's a bed in the basement, and I'm thinking, because my dad was over, so I thought, well, maybe she moved something around. And there's beer in the fridge. I'm clueless. I'm not even. And because I was somewhat depressed because my buddy Brent had just broke his car, and he was going to be who I was going to be competing against, and he's fast. Like he would have been. He joined us on day 2, and he was going 590s all week. So after he blew up the motor, went home, borrowed a buddy's motor, put it all back together, and then came out. So, anyways, I was around.
Right, like you. That was around. You guys were 580s and 90s, right?
Yeah, the only thing I can take credit for was I did make the fastest pass of all the stick cars on day 1, and then I fell apart after that. But well, I mean, I was still second, but compared to Bill, I fell apart. But
see, friendly competition. Well,
and I will tell you, the last day, Bill went up, and what did he do? Oh, he stripped the distributor gear, and so. I went up and went 620 on my first pass, and he went like 12. And then these clouds started rolling in. So I was over by Bill's car doing a little rain dance. I'm like, if you don't make another pass and they call it, I take first place.
So, man, that would have been brutal.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was lots of fun. Yeah, exactly.
So 29 cars were at Rocky Mountain for this year. And then you said a whole bunch were at Miles of Mayhem. How many do you think we're going to have for race week? I mean, there's 6 of you guys just in the folks you named off right there. The 4 that you mentioned the other day, and then you 2.
I bet you there's 20 plus again. Like typically race week has a lot of stick cars in. Let's be honest, stick cars in the mountains are fantastic. You just drop a gear and coast and get good fuel economy. Don't wear out trailer brakes or car brakes. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to spend some time. Obviously the reason I'm going out there is one last round at Vandermeer. I think I'll have an opportunity to be out there for sure. And then also, Steven is a race week racer, and so I'll be able to hang out with him. But then just to be able to see the mountains. I've always wanted to do 1.0, but never had the opportunity. And so this is going to be cool. I'm really excited to see all of that and spend some time with everybody.
Yeah, I mean the fact that we get a race at Vandermeer 2 more times
Mhm.
is pretty awesome. I mean we got so lucky at the Mile High Nationals that we got a park and staging, and every
Yeah.
car that raced went right by us, and so many good conversations. Adam Dory stood there for hours telling people the drag week story, the race week story. Yeah, it was awesome. Just such an awesome opportunity to be able to do some stuff like that, even if you got to drive 1,200 miles to make 2 quarter-mile passes.
Well, right. So let's tell that story and then we'll move on. But you get down, you get invited to the Mile High Nationals, and then you drive all the way from home. Like how many miles? You said it's a 1,200-mile trip.
1,200 miles one way. Yep.
Yeah. So you drive down on what? Like, is that like a single day worth of drive for you, or is that 2 days?
I went and picked up Matt, so I stayed at his place. So I knocked about 300 miles off, and then it's a day drive. And I've done 1,200 miles myself on the way home. Took about 16 hours because the speed limits in the States are perfect. And but that's probably 1,200 miles is a full day for sure.
Man, I can't imagine. I'm at 300. I'm going okay. I'm zoned out. But again, I don't drive, 1,400 horsepower cool car.
Yeah, it's those taxi beads. It's all about the taxi beads.
That's exactly right. Well, in your most recent podcast, you said you had a secret weapon coming for the car. Can you elaborate here, or should we wait and see?
We're gonna have to wait and see. It might only come out at sick week if I make sick week.
Oh,
But
nice.
this morning when they sent 2 emails out, one was Death Week is a go, and the other one is here's your early registration to sick week. And I'm like, oh, don't tell my bank account this because they're both those events. Like it's 9 days Death Week. That's a lot of hotels and a lot of gas and 2,000 miles. And I don't know. I have to check, but I think it's probably at least 1,000 miles to get there, if not further. So,
Wow.
So you're talking 4,000 miles round trip.
Yeah. And then
in a solid 2 weeks. I mean, you got to figure, at least a day and a half to get there and back.
Yeah, October's a write-off for sure.
Yeah.
Race week, just get home for a week and then scoot down to Death Week. And Dad's while we're down there, it'll be Dad's 81st birthday. So
Nice.
And I messaged him today and said, you know what? I just got the early registration for sick week, and man, it's going to cost some money. And he's like, well, I think we should do it. And I'm like, oh. So
yeah, he's only 81 once. Well, let me ask, are you, do you need to drive the car all the way back home? Or are you going to park it maybe at Bill's and then fly home between this week and Death Week?
I probably don't need to. Typically it needs some work though. Usually I like to look at the clutch, and so it'll probably come home. I know Chris Hines talking about leaving his somewhere down there. You never know. I might come to my senses, but it's not likely.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, listen, if I had a cool car like that, I'd drive that thing too.
Yeah, that double overdrive, man. I mean, at 1,700 RPM at 80 miles an hour, it just makes everything. It's just high idle. So,
how many miles are on that car?
I don't know. I put in a Dakota Digital dash. And there's the cat. Yeah, I put it that. And I think it says 135,000 miles since I put that in. And that was after I restored it. So it's got a few.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
And I'll tell you, you'd be surprised at the things you wear out. So,
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. I just want to remind everybody that we can't do this without you guys. Drag and Drive Addiction brand is not possible without everybody following along and hitting the like and share button and all that kind of cool stuff. But also want to thank all of our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Can't do it without those folks either. And, the reason we do those because they race as well. All right, let's talk roadside repairs, dude, because you've had a few of those, and you talk about stuff wearing out. The one thing that comes to mind is you and Kyle for Sick Week had a lower control arm or something. What happened there?
upper control arm, which is way more exciting. So I'm trying to remember where we were. If we were in Wyoming, but we pulled into a gas station and I hear this clunk, and I'm like, that did not sound good. And get out, and the wheel is literally at a 45-degree angle because the upper control arm broke and was into the header. And coincidentally, as you do many of these, you break stuff and carry spares when you order two. And so, yeah, I had a spare upper control arm bracket from TRZ, and about 35 minutes later, we were back on the road, and Kyle was like, you have a spare? And I'm like, yeah, well, but that cat seems to want to join me here. And then on the way home from Sick Week, in the middle of, what the heck was it? Wolf Point, Montana, which nobody knows where it is because it's in the middle of nowhere. Same thing, pull into the gas station, and I broke the Heim joint actually. And I didn't have a spare Heim joint, but my anti-roll bar has the exact. I'm literally like going, how am I going to fix this? We're talking about welding it, and I'm thinking, well, there's Heim joints back there. I wonder if they're the same size. And sure as shit, they're the exact same size. So, yeah, Dad stayed in the warm car. I was out in the cold, laying in the snow, and changing that. We were back on the road, same thing, in about 40 minutes. And
that's awesome.
Probably the craziest. Go ahead.
I was say one of my favorite pictures is your car just caked in the road, snow, salt, got the big clumps up. That was cool.
Yeah, I try not to show the car that very often, but probably the craziest one was our very first drag week, and I can't remember if I told this story before, but we didn't even get out of Alberta. In fact, we were in Lethbridge, Alberta, just about ready to cross the border, which is about 4 hours from here, and my brother's with me. He's in his Mustang, and he pulls over. We pull over. Or what's going on? And he's like, I don't know. I don't have any oil pressure, and the car quit running. It was like, oh no. And so we start digging around. We're turning it over, and the distributor's not turning. And turns out he stripped the cam gear, not the distributor gear, because I think he had them both iron, and one was a little stronger than the other one, and unfortunately it was the camshaft. And once again, for some weird reason, he had a spare camshaft with him, and so we didn't even make it out of Alberta, and we changed the camshaft on the side of the road, and that was the start of the shit show that was our first drag week.
Wow.
That was the year he hit both walls, and it was a good time.
That's great. I was just looking at the historical stuff that the Gebhardt family sent over, and it looks like 2013 was your first drag week. That's a long time ago, man. That's 10 years of drag and drive racing. You've packed them in for sure. Yeah,
when I was listening to you guys early and you're talking about all these people doing it for the first time, and I'm thinking, well, there goes your pension.
Yeah, I mean, I try and explain that to folks. Like, it will change your life. It will change your life. You'll meet an entirely new group of people that you never knew you needed.
Yeah, I mean, the first year should have convinced us to never do it again. Like, camshaft on the side of the road. Bob hit both walls. We met Bill Armstrong. That should have finished it off right there. Changed his clutch in a car wash.
When it welded itself or something, right?
Yeah. Dad had heat stroke. It was the hottest year. Like, you'll hear Tom Bailey say that the 2013 It was so hot that year. It was brutal. I remember pulling on the way there. We pulled on to just away the car, and I stopped, and I hear this pop, and the car starts to settle down. I'm like, oh shit! I blew a tire. Go back. It was actually the airbag in the car got so hot that it popped.
Wow.
And but yeah, that year was crazy. But we got addicted, and that was it.
It happens to everybody. It happens because, and I think part of it is the people that you run into and you meet. But I think the just enjoying the cars the way we have built them to. You know, I've attended the Summit Racing Midwest Drag Race Series, which is like just drag racing, and then I went up to Mocan Dragway in Joplin last weekend for a funny car race up there, and like it's just not the same, man. You know, like we left, and my daughter's only been to the event we do, and so we left, and we like ran down the street, and she's like, nobody's driving their car. There's no race cars that we're seeing, you know, and I was like, I know, and they're all on a trailer leaving. You know, that's why Drag and Drive is so much better.
Yeah, and you know, when I do go to the bracket races, I usually go test and tune, but you know, I don't know how many times I've seen guys unload their car from the trailer, go up to make a hit and have a problem, and then it's back in the trailer. It's like,
Yeah.
that is not an option for us. And you know, I think that's what creates the Drag and Drive culture and the mentality of not to stop. I see Ed Holmberg's on there, and you know, I don't know if Ed would probably remind us if it was the first year, but he had his beautiful GTO out there, and he stripped I don't know if he wrecked the rear end, but you know, him and I were back there, and he had a spare, but yeah, it was you know, David Rexwinkle's on here too. I mean, he's running me all over Oklahoma looking for a balancer for my car. You don't really see that at you know, bracket racing or it's just a different group. But you do starting to see a lot more of these bracket racers and stuff coming and joining us, and it's just gas station stops, driving your cars. There it is. 2017 broke the Detroit locker and had a spare spool.
Yep. Well, and one thing too, you know, like you talk about a racer backs out of the trailer, goes to get in the lanes, does a burnout, something's broke. He'd have figured that out in the driveway. You know what I mean? That's what I thought on. Like, hey, he'd have figured that out, that it was broken before he even left town, and spent what is, you know, 4 hours a lot of times getting to and from the track. You know, for us, it's an hour and a half there. So, you know, you can break a lot of stuff between here and there.
Yep.
Yeah, right here, David Drexel. Yep.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. We it was, and I didn't know David from anywhere. We just made an announcement, and the next thing I know, he's over there asking if we need some help, and then it's just so awesome. He likes to break stuff with sticks too. So
yeah, that's one of the biggest things I think that I enjoy the most about watching the stick shift stuff is, one, because you guys it's violent. Like, there's no easy way to make a 4,100 pound car go eights. There's with a stick shift, there's that clutch at some point has to connect itself. You know, it's got to hook up. You know, you can build in a little bit of slip with an automatic, but you can't do that with a stick, you know. And so it's always fun to watch you guys launch those things. And you know, who's the kid Miles Groves with the 9,000 RPM Coyote Fox body? Oh man, what a cool car!
Oh yeah, awesome young man too. And it's just great to see the younger generations getting in there and banging gears and having a good time. And he was at the Mile High Nationals with us there too, and it's just an awesome. You know, we had breakfast with him and went for a drive before we went to the event, and just such great people.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. I do want to go back to something David said a while ago. He said that Race Week needs to make a Mocan stop. If they can extend the shutdown, that would be awesome. And yes, I'll agree with that. And that's why for the circuit, we cap our quarter mile class at the 850 class, just because of that. We don't need somebody going 190 miles an hour trying to get it shut down. But 165 is okay.
What else we got for roadside repairs? I see a note here talking about when you did the heads in the hotel parking lot at Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Yeah. Well, and that was funny. I told Kyle from 1320, I'm like, you know what I want is I want a picture of Bill and I with the parachutes out at the end of the track. And so they almost got the perfect shot on the pass before with Bill and I. And I kind of thought something was hurt, but I really wanted that picture. So he went out again. And then, I let a little smoke out. And, what happened there was, and once again, I'm really bright, pretty much like when Bill came over. There was a bunch of signs that were telling me something wasn't right. Like it wouldn't build boost on the line. And it was doing pretty good mile an hour. And anyways, I had put on a new balancer, and the way my crank trigger works is it's bolted to the balancer. And when I put on the new balancer, I thought for sure I was going to have to make, drill some new holes or something. But, I had marked it. And when I put it on, I'm thinking, oh, geez, that looks like it just about lines up. And I didn't check the timing. And so I did all the race week with 15 degrees more timing than I thought I had. So I had like 41 degrees of timing and about 16 pounds of boost. And it decided to tell me that it was not happy with that. So thankfully, I just had to change a head gasket. But the other one, and Kyle Williams was with me. We were stopping and adding water quite a bit because it was blowing it out for some weird reason. But and it wasn't bad because that was King of the Open. No, that wasn't King of the Open Road. That was race week. Yeah, it was a little cool coming back. So the thermostat was staying closed, so the block had a little bit more pressure. But soon as we got to Canada and it actually warmed up, which is weird. I know it's kind of backwards. And the thermostat opened. Yeah, then we couldn't even make it a full tank of gas. It was every half a tank of gas. We'd have to stop and add water. Wow. There's Mr. Hedrick. He should have totally kicked my butt. It's just a matter of time before. I think he's going to drag week. So there's some fast guys. There's some fast guys going to drag week, but they don't have a stick shift shootout, but there isn't a stick shift class yet. But
surely they'll add one. Maybe they're waiting for the 2024 season or something. I don't know, but I think with as many racers as we have in stick shift, they're gonna have to. You know what I mean? Or maybe they do it in the 2025 event with the new rule set. I don't know. But I'm excited to see Taylor. That's going to be cool.
Yeah,
Jeremy Hackett is going to that as well. So
yeah, the last time we seen him was at Midwest Drags when was it the radiator that exploded?
Yeah, sadly.
There was a big smile in the bottom of his radiator. I don't think that was there before. Whoops.
Yeah, he was not having a good time.
Chad's got a radiator that looks just like that too, actually.
Dang. Yeah. Well, have you heard? Is Chad Fegley coming to race week? Have we heard that?
Yeah, we're all in trouble.
Yeah. I mean that car's fast, real fast.
Yeah.
Was he building another car?
I think he's got a third gen Camaro or something. But yeah, he's got another car. It's an automatic car, but it's fast. I don't know if he's in the sevens now, but Chad. Wow. Chad has another car. It's not a drag and drive. It's pretty much just a race car, as far as I know. But all of everything exploded.
All of everything exploded. Yeah. Chad's another great guest you guys have had on the show. That's that one I listened to it. I think at least twice, just because of the stuff you guys talked about was pretty in depth, and that was fun. I don't know anything about stick shift racing, and I am more of a media guy, but that sounds fun. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely come a long ways. Technology helps us, clutchless shifting. The slipper clutches or the bang shift billy, something to get you off the line, and it's not near as violent as it has been, but I'll tell you, I broke a shock on Miles of Mayhem and threw on some single adjustable QA1s that were lying around, and I never even really checked them. And oh my God, what a road show that was. I was yarding the wheels. Every time I would change the gears, the wheels would come off the ground. And I'm like, oh, well, this is why good shocks make such a difference. But
Oh, yeah. What do you run now?
Viking Crusaders. And so Bill's co-pilot, Jamie, after the road show of trying to run the QA1s, that one of them was completely shot, which didn't help. I'm sure they probably had a couple miles on them if they're mine. And so we actually cut the top off some 9010s, and Jamie welded it back onto my Vikings. That's still what's on well, I only broke one. That's what's on the Viking. That's what's on the car right now. But Viking,
Nice.
I ordered up another one, so I have a spare. But
That's cool.
Yeah, you just got to get creative. That's all.
Right. Well, one of the other stories we definitely need you to tell is the transmission and rear end change at King of the Open Road. Because you guys were coming out. I think you came down with Trevor to get his car or something. I don't remember why you were in the area, but it was something like that. And then you guys hit the King of the Open Road event, and you tore stuff up, and you had to fix it before you drove home.
Yeah. And it was funny because I probably could have thrown it on a trailer, but that's not really my style. But yeah, I went out there.
I think while I was standing there, Trevor said, "I have an empty trailer. You can just put it in here." And you were like, I have the parts. I think I remember you saying, "But I have the parts." And then you guys got to work.
Yeah, I went out and I broke a shift fork, and it was one of the few stock pieces left in my transmission. And like everybody, when you're going down the track and something happens, you try to do a little investigating while you're driving. So it broke, and then I was looking for another gear, and I found it, and then I was in 2 gears, and then it stopped the transmission dead, and it stopped the drive shaft dead, and then spin the yoke right off the 9-inch. So I had a broken transmission, and as I pull off the track on like the first stop, because I think it broke when I went 2-3 or something. The lady's up there and she's kicking my drive shaft off the track, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, I didn't bring a spare one of those. No, don't kick that." So the yoke's like, grinding on the dirt, and I'm like, yeah, I had a spare 9-inch. I had a spare transmission. And with a bunch of people helping, we slapped all that stuff together. And now I have a spare drive shaft in my trailer too. It was like, nice. What if I would have broke the drive shaft? I wouldn't have been able to get home. So I better get a spare drive shaft.
Wow. Yeah, that was pretty cool to watch. I think there was like 3 of you guys, and you just got to work. It was pretty cool to watch and go through that with you guys that day. And every time I'd walk by, there was another part laying on the ground and another part going in. It was pretty neat. But yeah, like the spline, is that right? How the 9-inch connects or something? I mean, it literally like just twisted that baby right in half. It was like a clean break. It was no more.
Yeah, and I think that was the first time I was trying radials, and apparently they work just as good going backwards as they do going forwards. They had really good traction going backwards.
Nice.
Yeah, they work good as brakes.
So that's with all the extra parts that you carry, how organized is your trailer?
At the start of the week or the end of the week?
Yeah, the start for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, my preference is actually not to have a back seat in the car and to put the tires in the back seat, because it just gives me more room in the trailer. And but quite often, I had like sick week, I had people in the back seat, so then the trailer gets pretty full. So it's moderately organized at the beginning of the week. I try to label boxes. I try to pack it so the stuff that I really don't want to have to use, axles, drive shaft, is in a place where I don't have to move them to get the tires out. So I try to be very strategic about what goes where at the beginning of the week. But as soon as somebody breaks on the side of the road and you're digging for stuff, all of a sudden it's just like pack the trailer and let's get going. So
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's progressed over the years.
What do you think your trailer weighs?
It's a good question. Actually, I have to go over some scales. I mean, the spare transmission's 130 pounds. Then it's got axles, drive shafts, 9 inches. Shit, that thing's got it's an iron 9-inch, so it weighs quite a bit. And then there's pistons, valves, camshaft, full valve train. Yeah, when you're 3,000 miles from home, it was actually sick week last year where, I don't know if I'm watching old videos or something, and for some reason my head went, what if I torch a head? What are the chances of finding a valve somewhere? I'm sure I could get somebody to weld the heads up, but what are the chances they're going to have the valve that I need? So I stopped by my engine builders and I'm like, hey, you got any of my old valves kicking around? And so, I boxed up some valves just so I don't need them. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, while we're on this, David says Eric Wilson roadside valve job. That was way more than a valve job on that. It was like a piston rod replacement and head pull. I mean, you guys got to work, and it was like 3 hours or something like that. You guys did that.
It was 3 hours, and then we still went and stopped for dinner afterwards. And David Rexwinkle and his partner there, they were the gurus because they had just done some LS work before. So, and Eric Wilson, awesome. He climbed underneath that thing, and he didn't come out for 45 minutes before he pretty much was holding a piston in his hand. And we, I think we used my Colgate for the valve job. Yeah, it was like
that's right.
But where do you get memories like that?
Drill or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking awesome. We had such a good time. People are stopping and laughing with us, and I mean, you don't have to jack up Eric's truck because it's already high enough. So, yeah. And Eric had a spare piston ready to go, ready to drive. It wasn't the same as the rest of them, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, at that point, it didn't matter. It was fine. However, it was going to be. When we pulled up, so I was having trouble with the transmission in the cart. So we're coming along, and of course I'm limping. I'm already in third gear, and like we're pulling the hill, and I see Eric's truck first off, and then I see the row of cars, and so we're like, do we need to stop? Maybe we got something they need. I knew the truck was LS at that point. We didn't have any LS parts, but as we pull up, I see you and Bill's car, and I was like, if those two dudes can't fix it, there ain't nothing we're gonna do. So we just kept on puttering around to get to the track. That was a good week. That was a good time.
That was awesome.
Yep. Well, let's talk about future events. What you got coming up, where people can start to kind of look, because with Race Week, is that 4 events for you this year?
Yeah. Or no, I think Death Week will be 4. So I had a big plant turnaround this year. I work at a petrochemical plant, and it's a once every 5 years event. And so we make like 7 million pounds of polyethylene plastic pellets a year. So lots of, not a year, every 24 hours. So yeah, like 2.4 billion pounds of plastic a year. And whether the world likes plastic or not, they sure seem to use a lot of it. So so that was like June 15th or May 15th. All the way through June. So I missed some events there. So I did Sick Week, Miles of Mayhem. I'm going to do Race Week, and I'm going to do Death Week. So that's the goal. And your champion is not helping me any. Now I'm like, got to push harder. And I have made a few changes to the car after Miles of Mayhem because my performance was not where I wanted it to be. And it was mainly due to some upgrades that I did after Sick Week that caused me grief. But I undid some of those, and there'll be fresh clutch, fresh tires, fresh slicks as spares. Yeah, nice. I got to kick Bill's ass if nothing else.
Yeah, that's right. So is 4 events going to be? Is 4 events going to be your new normal, and then is it going to take 4 events for world champion to get, because like we only take your top 3 events, but there's got to be an event where you didn't perform as well as you did. So then, now is it going to be 4 events for everybody that's going to be in contention for this?
It's a great question, and I think first of all, I think it's super exciting what you're doing. You can see there's a lot of people. I think there's people in the background that are like counting points and doing stuff too. So
Yep.
It's very cool to be recognized and to see what you're doing and to have people like Summit and all these sponsors, Molly and Howard's and Racing Junk come on board. I mean, it's just super cool what you guys are doing. So
Yeah, we appreciate you saying that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be challenged. There's a lot of really good competitors out there, and you see some internet BS where it's like, oh, people are just going for the drive, and no, we're pretty competitive. I was doing a pretty good rain dance there beside Bill's car. Going, come on, Mother Nature, I need everything I can get right now. Please,
That's right.
Rain on
That's
our
right.
parade or his parade, not mine. But
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it could be 4 events, especially as your car gets slower. I think you're going to have to do more to to place in top 3, and so yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'll be my norm. I mean, I got to tell you, doing sick week and death week, that's a little hard on the paycheck. Like those are
that's a trip, man.
Yeah.
Because like for you, that's one thing people need to understand too, is like sick week for you is how many miles is it one way? It's like 3,200 miles or something crazy, right? 20,
Yeah, it's
20,
like yeah, I think it was 32 because now I have a bunch of friends who want me to stop, and every time I do there, it's a good time. Like Jason Schaefer and Angel, how do you not stop in Niceville? I'm a Canadian, and he lives in Niceville, Florida. It's like Beachfront Drive or something like that. And it's like gotta stop there. Like, how can you not stop there?
Yeah, and he's one of the best people I know.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, they made arrangements because other people were traveling with us. It was So yeah, I think it's 3,000 miles straight shot without taking any detours. So yeah, you're talking just about 7,000 miles, but I think it was 7,500 miles the first year, depending on where it starts too, right? So
yeah.
Do you change the oil during the event, or do you just do it before and after?
No, usually when I get there, I'll change it when I get there.
Okay.
And then I might change it before I come home. It kind of depends on how hard I beat on it. I mean, this year, sick week, it was 6 passes. So, I really didn't beat on the car very much. In fact, Bill made me beat on the car way more at Miles of Mayhem in order to, I think I made 6 passes in one day in the Canadian event. And, I only made 6 at sick week. So.
Wow. Yeah, 100% stop with Jason Angel. Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's the world champion thing. I think is going to be a lot of fun to watch play out. Like this year, of course, first year we're seeing some stuff happen, but if we can find the right sponsors, that's the next big thing too that we're working hard at, Eric and I. And, if we can find the right sponsors and make it less expensive for racers next year, like the winter next year, to race more, I think it'll help just that much more. Like Matt Frost has signed up to provide free entry for the world champion to both both Rocky Mountain events and Southeast Street and Heat. They give a free spot as well. So I mean, that's 3 national level events that count towards the points that you'll race for free. That's $1,300. That comes right off the budget. So
yeah, you get in for free.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. So the entry
it all helps.
It
absolutely all helps. It really appreciate Matt Frost and Devin for stepping up. Like that's fantastic. Like that stuff all helps.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's going to be cool to watch this grow and how that can help reward more racers. Because the first thing I think of too, like especially for you guys, because you guys are becoming content creators. I mean, you have a podcast that's becoming very popular. You have a lot of great guests on there, and your format is great. Your interview style is great, you guys. And as it becomes more available to you guys, does that mean sponsors come on board, and does that allow you to attend more events or attend events with less out of pocket expense? Because that's the thing for Eric and I is how can I attend more events and it not completely cost me my house?
Right.
Yeah, all of this helps. Like me being on here, us doing the podcast. I don't think I've ever asked for sponsorship, but people like Viking,
Mhm.
you tell them a little story and they help you out. GeForce has been fantastic. Crower is another one that's a huge sponsor for a bunch of these events, and they help you out. So it all helps for sure.
And they want to be part of it. They want to be part of what you're doing. Not
Yeah.
not that you're out beating the bushes trying to gain those sponsors, but they want to be a part of what you're putting together, which is really cool. I love seeing it.
It's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So for a podcast, do you have any upcoming episodes or guests coming up that are going to be released soon? Or
Clay is the last one we did, so I don't know if we're going to do another one this Sunday. We have a list of guests, but I haven't looked at it for a while. So, and half the time we're like, hey, are we going to do one this Sunday? And it's like Friday night. We should probably get a hold of somebody if we're going to do it. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So Eric, that means we're the same.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. I was
That's
just
normal.
gonna say.
It makes me feel better.
Yep.
Yeah, don't give me too much time to plan for this, because then I'll probably be more disorganized.
Well, we talk
I
about
literally-
it after one, but then actually reaching out and scheduling everything is usually a couple days before.
Yeah, and just like having Clay on there, I mean, I think we'll diversify more too. We'll get some more, drag and drive type of people on there, and but like I said, it's been hugely educational. I think it's helped a ton of people's programs. It's got more people into it. Like, I think Danny is as hilarious as that was when he said that, he was shopping for a purse and had to rip it out. I think there's a lot of people that are reaching out, and my personal belief is the overdrive, and I really wish gear vendors would change their program a bit and put a better overdrive in their gear vendor, just so people could cruise at a lower RPM. I mean, I cruise with Pat Miker. He still drives like 85, I think it's kilometers, or it might be miles an hour. And, he's doing 2,700 RPM, but if he could do 1,900 RPM or something lower, it's just easier on parts. It allows you to drive and keep your sanity. You can actually hear if there's issues going on with your car. So I think that that double overdrive, or a 0.63 overdrive like the TKX has and stuff, it just allows you to cruise, get decent mileage, and not beat up on parts, and truly enjoy the drive. Not like you're stressed out the whole time. It's like buzzing down the road going, oh, I hope I make it. That's no fun.
One thing that Doc McIntyre talks about all the time is the number of revolutions. He's like, it's not necessarily about the miles we drive. It's like, what RPM are we running at the whole time? Like, those guys on the ragged edge of big inch NA stuff. I mean, those guys are like, okay, we want to make the motor only turn this many times, before we go race again. So,
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, 2023 has been a game changer year, and we are flying through it already. So it's crazy that it's already September and we're fixing to run into, in 10 days kicks off 19 days straight almost of drag and drive events, like big high level, drag and drive events. So it's gonna be nuts, man. We come through this next 3 weeks and it's gonna be all like no holes barred.
And we're going to be covering just about all of them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be huge.
What are you doing for Death Week?
I don't know. So my intention was to go to Death Week, but I have part of part of my scheduling has given me the opportunity to be at the final race for the Summit Racing Midwest Drag Race Series in Texas, which is like their big event. And I'll be announcing there and kind of helping them with the whole show there. So I'm going to have to skip Death Week this year to do that. So instead of that, I'm going to go to Southeast Street and eat. So that way I'm right there front and center as we end the season with, and I'll have all the math prepared for that event, and then should be able to. I don't know if I want to name the winner after that, or we may just go silent for 3 weeks until we have the awards and not let anybody know. They'd have to do the math on their own, So,
I think that's the way to go for sure. Yeah, and we'll do as much as we can to help you, tell you what's going on, and take lots of pictures. And I got to say, I still suck with the social media part, mainly because I'm either under my car adjusting shit or fixing stuff. But I got to get better at doing some more videoing, and so we can share it and communicate.
Yeah, certainly.
How it's going, because that's going to be an awesome, epic trip.
Epic. 10 days, 2,000 miles of some of the coolest part of the country ever. That's and this. We get through this year. He's going to learn all the stuff of what to do, how to do it for that event. I can only imagine what they've got planned for the 2024 end of the season event that they're going to do. Because they'll do 3 events from here on out. There's no way around it. So,
yeah. Well, Tom's a good salesman.
Really
This is the only time we're going to do it, and so one time, I'm like, man, I took a little bit of marketing in school. He is sucking us in, like.
Well,
man, I got to do
that.
It.
Really is that really is a cool trip. I am sad I'm missing it, but this is an opportunity that could really help propel what I'm doing forward. So
yeah,
we're gonna run that battle. Maybe we can send Eric for a day or two. Just fly him into Vegas, let him ride with a car for 2 or 3 days.
For the content stuff, one thing Mike and I have done when we're at different events is upload to a Google Drive too, and then give access to that. That way, if I'm at an event and I can't edit or upload something, then Mike can grab it. So it's always something to think about too.
Yeah, for sure.
And one thing, when you said that, it made me think that, so there's obviously photographers, you can purchase their packages and stuff like that. I think we're going to begin to see some like videography come into this, not just regular photography, and people be able to purchase, video packages of their passes. And I'll tell you again, that's why I'm backing down the amount of coverage we're going to do from Drag Week, and I'm just going to follow 1 or 2 classes. I'm going to do the leaders of those classes, and then I've got a few select other people that I'm going to follow, and I'll get other content, but it's not going to be on the level that it was for the last 18 months, where I'm running around trying to get everything all day, and then I end up with 800 videos by the end of the week, and it takes me 6 months to edit them.
Yeah.
So
that is a struggle.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what's happened with the Drag Week of content from last year. Is like I'm just finally now able to put it out, and that's way too late.
Yeah,
way early. So, come home from Drag Week, I'll have 2 days here, 3 days here, and then I'll head towards Detroit. All the event there, all of race week. So, all of October essentially is going to be me editing videos. That's all I'm going to do for October. So,
well, speaking of Detroit, I have an interesting story that Rich, you might enjoy this a little bit.
Your Canada story.
Yeah. So last Thursday, a week ago, we left here in Illinois, drove to Michigan to visit my mother-in-law. And typically we just come down around Chicago into Michigan. We're up in Grand Rapids area. Last time we took the UP in around. So this time I'm like, well, we've covered most of Michigan. We haven't been in the Detroit area. And then if we go to Detroit, there's the bridge over to Canada. So we decided that's what we were going to do this time. So we left Thursday, drove up. Friday, we visited my mother-in-law and then drove to Detroit. And then Saturday, we got up and we're going to head over to Canada. So when you fly to another country, you pack your bag, you know what's in your bag.
Oh, no.
And there's no issues when you go across the border. when you take your car, I was telling Mike this before the show, I couldn't inventory everything that's in my car. You're just used to those items being in there. And my fault was not looking at everything you can and can't take into Canada. So we get to Canada. The first checkpoint is just an officer waving cars through. You know, there's Canada plates going through, and then there's us. So they stop and ask where we're going, what we're doing, and then send us on. And I'm like, wow, that was really easy. That's it. Go across the bridge, pay our toll, stop at the duty-free store, and then we get back in the car, and then we get to customs, and that's where all the line is. So we get in there, we're going through, we get up to the guy, and he goes, you know, do you have any weapons? And I'm like, well, I have a pocket knife that I carry all the time. I don't know if you consider that a weapon. He's like, you know, and then asking me what kind of pocket knife it is, and my wife opens up the center console. She goes, oh yeah, I have a pocket knife in here as well. Oh, and I have pepper spray. And
Uh-oh.
yeah, and the look on his face was, say what? And it was all of a sudden, it was like, put it on the dash, don't touch it. We held up the line. We got pulled into customs. They had to search the whole car. They pulled, you know, we got out of the car. They were pulling panels off in the trunk. They're opening the hoods. They're looking, I mean, they inspected the whole car. So it was like a 45-minute ordeal because we didn't pay attention that we had pepper spray in the car.
Welcome to Canada.
Yep. And then I looked it up, and pepper spray is definitely illegal in Canada.
Wow.
So, definitely
Yeah,
noted for next time.
There's the border crossing that I go through, Sweetgrass. There's a car guy there, and the first time I went through, the first time that I run into this guy, I pull up, and the border guard looks at me and he says, "Wait right here. Somebody's got to see you." And this is not what you want to hear at the border. I'm like,
Right.
oh shit. And this burly guy, tattooed guy, comes up, and I kid you not, it's like he's a 16-year-old girl. He is freaking out. He's like, "Oh my God, this is a GTO from 1320 video." And he's Nova Nate on Instagram. But so I've ran into him twice. The second time I ran into him, there's a lady, and she's going through a routine, you know, where are you going, how long are you going to be in the country, you got any weapons, all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, here comes Nate, and he literally like bowls her over and pushes her over, and he's like, "Where are you off to, man?" And starts talking. And then when he finally leaves, she comes back, and she's like, "I don't even remember where we were. Just go." and so Bill ran into him. Same thing when he stopped at the U.S. side, just so when he was going to come back, he wouldn't run into any problems. But yeah, Nova Nate, he super
That's
cool border guard, and so my experience has been a little better than yours, Eric.
Yeah. So do they have to?
Well,
do they
again,
open up your trailer
cool
and go
car.
through your trailer too, or?
They have not yet, actually. What you should do for us Canadians is you actually should go to the Canadian side, kind of inventory, and tell them what you have, so that when you come back, they don't say, "Where'd you get the transmission? Where'd you get the axles?" Lucky for me, my stuff all looks so used and from bouncing down the road for 3,000 miles. They're like, "Yeah, that doesn't look like it's brand new." So far, I haven't had any issues, but
That's awesome. And
Yeah, so
again, driving a cool car versus driving a regular car,
right. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
went
you get
across
special treatment.
the
Yeah.
Ambassador Bridge on the way there, and then we took the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel on the way back.
Nice.
no, very cool.
It was fun overall. I mean, we only got to spend about 4 hours over there. We had basically no cell service as soon as we crossed over, so we were navigating old school just on the map on the GPS and turn here, turn there, but it was still a good time. It was a good experience to go over, and like I said, we spent a couple hours. We had some food and walked the boardwalk and just kind of hung out for a few hours, but definitely was not expecting the pepper spray incident.
The full body cavity search. 'Cause
Yeah.
you eat pepper spray.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
where you crossed, like Bill's place is closer to me than where you crossed in Canada. It's way at the other side, so I'm like northern Montana.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Rich, I want to say thanks for coming on tonight, dude. I mean, you really, we had a guest fall out because we moved back from Wednesday to Thursday, and you really made our night. We appreciate that. You coming on and spending, a little more than an hour with us here, dude. It's been awesome.
Always appreciate time with my race car friends. So yeah, you're very welcome, and really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Dude. Well, thanks so much. We're going to close this out, and then my wife's texting me that I've got food in there, and it's not going to be warm. But if I sit out here and talk for 45 minutes,
you better get to that then. Yeah.
All right, bud. Hey, we talked about the podcast, but you definitely got to plug that. I mean, Clutch Burners podcast on all the, I guess it's all
pretty much
sites. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my preference when I rewatch him is watch him on YouTube.
Yeah, because then you get the pictures. You get the pictures.
Yeah, you get the video and stuff. But yeah, pretty much all Spotify. Anywhere Joe Rogan. Well, maybe Joe Rogan's not as many places as us. Maybe doesn't need to be. Anyways, yeah, pretty much every format you can listen to it. So, yeah, thanks, Ken White. Yeah, Clutch Burners podcast. I'm Guido Rich on Instagram and just Rich Guido on Facebook. So I will try to do a better job. It's nice when you have a Kyle or you have a Blaine releasing videos every day, so you don't have to. But I definitely have to get better at it, especially for Death Week, because that one's going to be an epic adventure for sure.
Yeah, you got to have those memories, man. Even if you just make Travis edit those things. Be like, hey, man.
Yeah, use the Google Drive and have somebody at home upload that stuff for you.
Yeah. And I will see you guys at PRI. I'm going to be there with Bill in his booth. So
cool.
Sweet. We'll definitely have to hang out and have a beer.
Yeah, we'll definitely come over. We're talking about getting cardboard cutouts and hiding them around different places, and if that way people can get pictures with us. So we'll bring one over to the Bank Shift Billy booth.
Perfect.
All right, guys. All right. See y'all.
See you, Rich.
See you, Rich. And you got to close the show out here.
Yeah.
Bye. Dude, what a fun episode.
Yeah, and we also got a happy belated birthday to your wife as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate that for
sure. She was pretty funny. She was having a hard time. This was I'm not going to give her age out there, but she's mid-30s and she's having a hard time with it. And everybody wishing her happy birthday made her feel at least loved. That's always a big plus. So
absolutely,
again, I appreciate Rich coming on, dude. That was he's got so many stories, man. It's hard for him, I'm sure, to narrow a lot of that stuff down because he's not only fixed a lot of his own stuff on the side of the road, but also, fixed everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, and I think stick shift is probably, 850 is one of my favorite classes, but stick shift is another one of my favorite classes to watch. And as you know, my truck has been broken for the past week, so I've been driving the 240 around, which is a stick car, and I forgot how much fun it is to actually drive that every day for about a week. Now, I'm not banging gears down the racetrack, so it's not that much fun, but still banging gears to work is a good time.
Oh man, I'll tell you, it's I want some stick shift stuff in my life eventually. That's the so we bought this Hillman wagon for my daughter, and she's 10, right? 10 and a half now, and we're going to do Junior Street in it when she's 13. And so the other day we were back in the backyard, and it's outside, of course. And I was like, what do you want to do power plant wise? What are you kind of thinking? Like, do you want like a turbo? Do you want like a manual transmission? Do you want, something kind of like Uncle Steven's car, loud, and or do you want something kind of like the old truck, And she's like, I don't know, but I want the thing in the middle that you shift gears with. So I was like, okay, cool. So it'll at least be a little stick car. I think we're probably going to do something simple.
Do like a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder. Yeah, I don't think you can fit a V8 in there.
It would be so tight. I don't want to. So, and again, it's going to be her first car. She's, it's going to take some time to put together. So I think just something simple, 4-cylinder, 5-speed, maybe a Miata power plant to get us started, something easy and cheap.
Ecotechs
I think I can use the
pretty popular.
Ecotech setup would be cool. The hard part is you can really run into, like, you almost need it to be configured rear-wheel drive already, or you're going to spend a ton on an adapter.
Yeah.
So we've looked at some of the stuff like a EcoBoost. I looked at a 2.3 EcoBoost, thought about that maybe as well. So
Or like
uh,
a 240 stock engine, like a KASR.
yeah, yep.
You know, those are manual as well. So
That would be. I had not put that one on the map as well. I just, I'm a turbo guy. I think it would be fun for that little car to make about 300,
oh
and so
yeah.
that should be super easy with anything. So, um, yeah, a V8 would be. I just don't want to fight it to get it in
Yeah.
there, and then the front suspension that would be needed because really it, it's so tight already. I don't want to do too much cutting of the firewall and rebuilding all that stuff. So,
Well, and
so
it's
anyways,
gonna
we'll see.
it's gonna be light and it's gonna be
Yeah.
a power plant if you put a V8 in it. And for her first vehicle, I think you're smart with going with something
Yeah.
a little smaller. And there's always opportunities to upgrade down the road, but you don't
Well,
throw a
yeah.
turbo on it to start with. You get her driving with it with NA,
Yep.
and then you slap a turbo on it when she gets a little comfortable, or
Yeah. What I think would be a lot of fun is like an EcoBoost setup from buy a wrecked Mustang, pull the
mhm.
car apart, and then put that in. So I see Danny says I got 5 years. The plan is to race it at race week when she's 13. So we got about 2.5 years to get it ready. Almost three, I guess, right now. So since race week is September, so we have 3 years. I've got to get the cart done, and we're giving that away. This is brand new news that we haven't told anybody. So for the folks that hung out this long, thank you. We're going to give the cart away and a free entry to the circuit 2024. To whoever wins it. So if you're not following Narcoleptic Customs on Instagram, you need to do that. So it's on the lift. Steve and I are going to get a transmission next week, and we're gonna put it back together and have some fun with it. And then that's the goal. We're probably do a drawing sometime in December for the winter, and then I'll patch up the rest of it, get the car ready to go as best I can, and then in April fly the winner in or have them drive in or whatever, and then they'll take it on the circuit and then go home. So and that'll be weird. And so then after we get the cart running, then it's onto the truck. Then we're gonna pull the little car in and start working on that. So
So what's the giveaway? How do they get into that?
yeah, it's really simple. So as long as they are a follower on our Instagram, they are entered. So
Perfect.
there's no purchase, no form to fill out or anything like that. So I've got to look into the newest set of rules for, do they need to be 18 to give it away? If they're a 14-year-old, do I need to give it to their parents? Whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. The Narcoleptic Instagram is very small compared to any of our, any mine or your, the Drag and Drive or your stuff. It's pretty small over there, so pretty good odds. I think there's like 2,900 people part of that channel or part of that Instagram page. So we're gonna start putting out a lot more content on it and all that kind of stuff. So
But you are
I'm
coming
excited
up
about it. I'm
on
ready to do dumb burnouts in that car.
but you're almost to 900,000 total views on YouTube on the Narcoleptic page.
Yes, bring it on.
So,
Please. It's only taken 5 years, and we've more than doubled that with Drag and Drive Addiction. So,
yep.
yep. Hey, guys, thank you so much again. We couldn't do this without everybody out there that likes and follows and shares and comments on all that stuff. That makes it all possible. And the folks surrounding this page here that our sponsors help with all that Summit Racing, Molly, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. I'm telling you, this next 5 weeks is going to change a lot of what's happening within the community and with us. And we got a lot of growth that is um, that we're currently experiencing. So
Yep.
so exciting. All right,
So
cool. That's
tune
enough.
in tune in on Saturday morning at
Yeah.
9 a.m. Central Time. And we have
Yep.
our
Yep. So we have moved it back. We will go back to normal time this weekend, 10 a.m. Eastern, for the news on Saturday. Danny Fatka says your food is now cold. Yeah, I
Yep.
know. I'm trying. I'm trying. But yeah,
So
we'll be here for the news. Yep.
tune in
We'll do
Saturday
the
morning.
Built for Drag and Drive segment, Howard's Cam comedy. If you missed it last week, I cut it down to a standalone. It was a bunch of YouTubers that you need to be following for Drag and Drive content. And then, of course, we dig a little deeper on Saturdays into the events. So we'll kind of have some recaps of what we did today, but then we'll have some new insights. So, all right, cool. Bye.
See you guys.